fans, welcome to episode 228 of the Working Fans Podcast. Let me make sure it's 228. It is because Merry Christmas, everybody. And there ain't no ho-ho-hos because Dave is a family man. How are you doing, Dave? It's finally the holidays.
2 years strong. We going at it. All right, me and my baby girl, family man, 5 kids, helping raise these little motherfuckers, all right? I don't care if it's my seed or not. I'm going to raise them right, all right? That's what we do it.
And
it might be a few
Merry
this year. Rip shirts. Anyway, go ahead.
Yep. Now, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to everyone. And as we're closing out the year here, what is it? Next week, we're going to be going over our year-end awards to close out the year. But since we're getting so close, we wanted to go over our 2023 predictions as well as make some 2024 predictions. So first up, looking over the 2023 picks. First, male wrestler of the year. Do you remember your pick from earlier this year?
Yeah, Roman Reigns.
You actually chose Cody, and you thought that he could possibly be turning heel.
I also thought he'd be winning the title, I think, when I said that, too. Damn it.
Yeah, because that was the big thing, is he was coming back, and we thought that he was going to do it at WrestleMania. AJ got lost in the Cody conversation and did not give us a male wrestler of the year. I thought it would be MJF. And as we get to the end of the year,
arguable.
MJF feels a little closer than Cody, but Cody had a hell of a 2023.
He did. Yeah. I mean, I think you'd be arguing Roman and MJF. I think Roman was the man, but I would say as we end the year, Roman's been kind of not around as much. So you could make the argument of MJF for sure. We'll see what a lot of other people come up with here. But I just, it's interesting. I would say you were closer with MJF just because he did, world championship, had a great run. He's the longest reigning AEW world champion of all time. Cody definitely had a hell of a year. I mean, main event in WrestleMania, winning the Royal Rumble, still that feud he had with Brock Lesnar, beating Brock Lesnar 2 out of 3 times, at SummerSlam, winning at War Games with his team. You can't deny Cody had a great year as well.
No, and if you want to look at our prediction for female wrestler of the year, 2023, if you thought we missed the mark on the men's, I would say we're not even in the same stratosphere for the women. Do you know who you and AJ both picked for this?
I'm going to guess Britt Baker.
Jamie Hayter.
That's right. Injuries are a bitch, man. They're real. She had some fire back then.
I picked Mercedes Moné, so I'm in the same boat as you guys. Going into this year, Jamie Hayter, she was at that spot, I would argue, that Toni Storm's in now, where she was the other good pick for an AEW women's champion. And she, at the cusp of that greatness when that injury hit.
Yeah, no doubt. Could have been on fire. We had a lot of different women kind of make an impact this year in pro wrestling. To me, ultimately, I would say Rhea Ripley, though, was the 2023 wrestler of the year for females. She won it at WrestleMania. Britt, Jamie, a lot of injuries in AEW, going through different champions. I felt like the women's division AEW didn't have a standout this year. Other than maybe Toni Storm a little bit towards the end because of her character, but not long enough when you look at the whole year. So, and then I look at WWE, Bianca Belair's reign finally came to an end. Io Sky had a hell of a year. You could make an argument for her, but I think Rhea Ripley was probably the most dominant and the focal point of the women's division in WWE this year. And I would say overall, I would pick her.
100%. I'm feeling Toni Storm. She's catching fire. And if she continues at this rate, she could definitely be 2024's pick, but that'll be a discussion for later because now we are going to look at our picks. Our picks for the 2023 Tag Team of the Year. Dave, who did you pick?
I have no idea. I'm going to go FTR.
You picked FTR. And at the time, I had gotten a supposed WrestleMania card that didn't turn out to be correct. But AJ mockingly picked Asuka and Kairi Sane, who wasn't in the company at the time,
Right.
recently made her return. So it's funny the way that ended up. I had the Acclaimed, and while the Acclaimed had a good year,
Yeah.
I don't know if they necessarily hit Tag Team of the Year. We talked about this a couple episodes back when we talked about the top 100 tag teams in Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and this wasn't a huge tag team year. The year before, the Briscoes and FTR had that hot feud. The Usos were on fire. It
Right.
felt like there were tag teams left and right. And this year, there haven't been as many featured. Who have been the standouts? I mean, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens had a good run early on. The
Right.
Usos have been broken up by the Bloodline storyline.
For me, we're going to be talking about factions later, but right now, I'd say Judgment Day, Finn and Priest, just because they've had the tag titles a couple times. They're a focal point. They're main eventing some stuff, and it's weird to say that, but again, FTR won the titles when they got back, but then lost it. You know, the Guns had a good run for a little bit, but again, much like Sammy and Kevin, that was in the beginning of the year, really. And Big Bill and Starks, as of now, still don't really feel like a real team to me. At least the Judgment Day are part of a group together, even though I think that faction is going to probably disband at some point. We'll probably talk about that. But so I would say I'm going to give it to Finn and Damian just because they're, the team right now. They're champs. But that should just tell you that we just haven't had strong teams this year. Now, I know in that previous AJ talked about the Creed brothers, and they're putting wins together, and maybe in 2024 we'll see. Conversation for another time, though.
Yeah, the Infantry is another team that I like. I feel like they're doing good things in ROH, but nobody's really we could talk about tag teams we like all day, but talking about top tag teams that have really been sitting in the minds of people, it's really hard. I'm gonna go with Finn and Damian just to have an answer, even though I hate saying I'll do the same as Dave, because usually I like to bring something to the table, but like we said, the tag team landscape has been so dry this year that it's kind of hard to say who was the top team. Our picks for 2023 faction of the year. Who is the top team, or the top group on our minds at that point?
I would have said the Bloodline.
You and me both said the Bloodline. AJ did not give us an answer, but I'm sure he talked about the Bloodline. So I feel like, I don't know. They were a team that we knew something was going to happen eventually. It happened so early in this year, and it's been the main part of the WWE's story. But it also changed who became the faction of the year, because Judgment Day stayed together through that time.
Right.
Rhea Ripley has become bigger. Dom has become an NXT champion. I mean, Blackpool Combat Club has done great. They're still together, but they haven't had that big presence that Judgment Day has felt. Right. I mean, New Day at this point is really just a tag team with no sight of Big E coming back. So, I mean, it's kind of a Judgment Day year.
I think so. When you look at the Judgment Day, Damian Priest winning Money in the Bank, Damian and Finn winning the tag titles twice, now currently holding. And then you look at Dom, two-time NXT North American champion. You look at Ripley, the most dominant female of the year. Yeah. Now, are there cracks in Judgment Day? And is that something to talk about again later down the road? Yes. But right now, I would say 2023, as far as the group and faction goes, was their year. Blackpool Combat Club would definitely be close. I would think the injuries to Mox and the fact that I think that MJF kind of dominated the world title scene over there kind of shuts them out from that number one spot. But they would probably be my number two.
It was interesting because one thing you said at the beginning of the year, you predicted that Gun Club could have a hell of a year, and they elevated their status. I think they've been enjoyable on TV. So that is a prediction that worked out. Another thing that was said, and this sounds like an AJ thing, but too many factions: House of Black, Brawling Brutes, Bloodline, Blackpool Combat Club. Does it feel like maybe wrestling is moving towards more factions than tag teams as a place of prominence at the moment?
Not as we close out this year, because again, I'm wondering, the Bloodline's gone now. The Brawling Brutes, Sheamus hasn't been on TV in a little bit, and Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland are actually having some issues. Judgment Day always looks like it's potentially going to break up. So it's kind of hard to say. We're going to have to see. This year's going to be a big telling thing for factions. There's still factions out there. AEW loves their factions. You still got, the Gates of Agony, there, the Embassy there, the Mogul Embassy. You got the Blackpool Combat Club. And, there's definitely some factions still out there, but I just feel like it's not as strong as it was last year.
Now, talking about 2023, more enjoyable company of the year. Earlier this year, you, AJ, and myself all picked one company to be more enjoyable. Can you guess which one?
At that point in the beginning of the year? Ooh. I'm going to say maybe we said WWE, and I'll tell you why. Because Vince was gone for a little bit at that time before he came back for a little bit, and maybe we were hopeful, but I don't know.
We all said AEW.
We did. Okay.
But one thing that was said was WWE has potential to do big things this year.
Right.
And coming out at the end of 2023, it was a transformative year for WWE and for wrestling overall. WWE is sold. Vince is more or less forced out of the company without any way to get back in at the moment. And,
at least in creative.
Yep. And I mean, at this point, I think that's all we're really worried about, because that is what I can't remember where we were when we made these predictions, but there was definitely that feeling then about if we could just get past Vince, WWE could do better. And like this year, look at the Survivor Series. It went by, it felt like so much quicker than Full Gear. All their pay-per-views do. The TV's been great.
Mm-hmm.
It's been hard to argue that WWE has been the more enjoyable company since they've turned things around.
Look at the two, look at the champions. Seth Rollins, in the limited bit of time since they made that title, already feels like a viable champion. Roman obviously is still, the big boss and all of this. And that's not a knock. MJF is right there too. But when you start to get down there, like I said, Tony Storm is just starting to take off now. But because of injuries, people like Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker just being off of TV, it's like Ripley and Io Sky have been kind of dominating the scene. And then look at the secondary champions. That's where it's really changed, right? Those used to be, kind of like hot potato in WWE. But Gunther, record-breaking Intercontinental title reign. Logan Paul now just got this title, but buzzworthy. This is a guy that is winning celebrity boxing matches, and now he's the U.S. champion here. I would say tag teams, that's the one area where everybody's hurting, like we already talked about. But for lack of options, we did pick them as our tag team last year. So, yeah, as a whole, WWE's company has definitely been more on fire. And but it's ironic. We'd have to say this, too. Part of the chaotic nature of AEW last year was probably not knowing how they were going to book with CM Punk in and out. And now WWE has inherited CM Punk. For better or worse, we shall soon find out.
Yes. Now, shifting our focus from 2023 to 2024, we are going to predict Male Wrestler of the Year. I'm going to go first because I think it's going to be hard for MJF to drop that top spot.
I agree with you. MJF makes a lot of sense, but just to be different, I'm going to go with my man, Cody Rhodes, baby. I'm going 2 years in a row. Cody, don't let me down. Wrestling has more than one royal family. Finish the goddamn story. WrestleMania 40, night 2. Take what's yours, baby boy. Take it.
Now, moving on, 2024 Female Wrestler of the Year. Let's hope we have some more luck this time compared to last time. I'm going to make a safe pick. Rhea Ripley is going to stay on top as Female of the Year.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to go a little different. I actually had originally written down Toni Storm. I'm going to go in a total different direction. I'm going to have a little fun with this. Jade Cargill.
It's going to be her come up year because as of now, she is been seen in WWE, but not in the ring. I would like to think that perhaps, like, I wanted to change Rhea Ripley for Toni Storm, but I gotta stay with Rhea.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
That's just because Rhea's just hot and it's gonna continue going. Toni Storm is heating up. She's gonna have a good year, but I don't know if it's gonna knock Rhea off that spot. Sorry, responding to a text here. That is not how we spend the holidays at this table. Keep your face up out of that phone. And that's why we're going to go 2024 Tag Team of the Year. Maybe I was stalling because somebody doesn't have a pick yet for this. Dave, who's your Tag Team of the Year? Well, I try and decide.
I'm going to go with the Creeds. Dominant NXT, putting together some wins at WWE. I think this is going to be their year. I think Triple H is high on these guys, and I think they kind of remind me, I've said this before, of kind of like a Steiner Brothers, but a modern-day version. So could always be FTR, too, if they put back together quite a run. But right now, I'm going to go with the Creeds.
The Creeds is a good pick. I saw what they did on Monday, and I really like their placement in that match. It's tough. I'm going to go with... See, there's not any tag team that I feel like 100% behind that, like, making the pick. I feel like they're going to be there the start of next year. I feel good about Finn and Damian, but I feel like they're close to a split.
Sure.
I'm going to go with the Creeds just because it feels like Triple H is starting to get behind them. And that, it's hard to tell because it's still so early, but they seem to have the most promise of any team of really standing out and not like breaking up or getting like pushed around in a storyline right now. 2024 Faction of the Year. Dave, who is running things in 2024?
Hard to say. I think that the Judgment Day will just abandon. The Bloodline right now is currently really not a thing too much. Although I will say you never know if the Judgment Day, if the Guerrillas of Destiny or, some other members maybe came into WWE, they could be the big deal again. That being said, I'm going to go to AEW with this one. I'm going to go with House of Black because I feel like they're still capable of doing big things, and I don't see them just abandoning it anytime soon.
I am also going to stay in AEW for this one, but I am going to go the group in the Devil Mask attacking MJF. We're going to find out possibly who they are this week, and I feel like they are going to gain steam throughout 2024, and that is going to be the big storyline. Who's in the group? Yet to be seen. You could speculate. I mean, by the time this comes out, we're recording this in advance. So a couple weeks ago, whoever's been attacking MJF will be in a tag match. And that group, they're going to be the ones. Now, 2024, most enjoyable company of the year.
I'm going to go with WWE.
Did we repeat last year?
I'm going with WWE this year. I think there's going to be some good stuff at AEW. Wembley will probably be great. But at the end of the year, right, WWE is so on fire right now in terms of their top overall programs. Unless something drastically changed, they have the momentum. So I will go with WWE.
Yeah, I am right there with you. It's got to be WWE. I mean, GCW has promise, MLW has promise, but WWE is the king for a reason. And I feel like recently with what they've done with like the whole Vince move and just what we saw with the bringing in of CM Punk, they have a lot of promise for 2024. Dave, are there any other bold claims, big predictions you want to make for 2024? And what do you want to wish the people this Christmas holiday season?
I'll do a couple other predictions. Will Ospreay wins the AEW World Championship. That'll be a prediction I like to make. And like I said, I think Cody Rhodes will win the WWE World Championship off of Roman in 20. I think Roman Reigns loses the title in 2024. Even if it's not at WrestleMania 40, he'll use it at SummerSlam or Survivor. He will lose it this year. That's my guess. As far as that goes, people that support us, thank you. We appreciate you. Keep hanging in there. People who haven't found us yet, find us. All right? We're pretty good guys. All right? Come aboard, hang out, talk wrestling, talk MMA with us. We love to talk. All right? And hey, have a great holidays, and I hope your year is blessed.
My bold claim is The Rock is going to appear at WrestleMania 40, cost Roman Reigns, and that is going to be the feud. Maybe not the feud going forward, but there will be a match somewhere down the line. That's how Cody gets the title. I see CM Punk taking the other title off Seth Rollins. I think that is going to be a feud that's going to make up 2024. And besides that, everybody take it easy this holiday season. Let's have nice, safe holidays. Also, like Dave said, if you're a fan of ours, please keep watching the videos, keep liking, keep sharing. Tell your friends to subscribe. Share an episode with somebody that you think they would enjoy, because so many of the people that watch us aren't subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, just click like, click subscribe. We will be back in 2024 with some live episodes, but also be aware during holiday times, we're going to bring you some pre-recorded stuff this year so you can still get fresh content and not have two burned out workers. So keep that working fan spirit alive. Of course, my camera just shifted. And thank you for joining us. But more importantly, thank you for joining WrestleVille.
Read about the Northern Wrestling Federation in the book presented by Wrestleville.com, The Pro Wrestling Vault, Volume 2. Hear the story of Roger Ruffin, the man who trained Carl Anderson, the Monster Abyss, Jordan Clearwater, Chris Harris, and Jillian Hall.
Plus 45 other short stories including Jazz, Bobby Eaton, Kamala, Thunder Rosa, Mario Mancini, Scott Casey, PJ Black, Kerry Morton, Sal Renaro, Jeremiah Plunkett, Colby Carino, Bam Bam Malone, and many others.
Get your book today at Wrestleville.com. Wrestleville. It's where wrestling lives.